Bestseller reports are incredibly useful because they give you a list of titles with sales in a selected reporting period, ranked by units sold. So first off, we have the set of default criteria for the bestseller report. Up at the top, you have the option to select a user group, and this is only available if you have access to multiple groups via your account. The default market is the all markets, so this is data from all retailers who are reporting to SalesData. But if you are interested and if you have access, you have the opportunity to look at a specific retailer to view the best-selling reports in that market. The preset reporting period is the current week, but you can also select something else from this drop-down list, or a specific reporting period by clicking on these calendar buttons and then choosing from the calendar drop-down. If I change the reporting period to something else, like year to date, you'll notice that the system changes and tells you the length of your reporting period. The default number of rows is 100, but you can go all the way up to 30,000 or 50,000 rows and getting really deep into the data. If you were to do this, you'll notice that the system prompts me to say that reports larger than 10,000 rows must be downloaded only. And this is because this is a lot of data, it's going to put a big load on the server, and we want the site to run as fast as possible. So if you want to see these many rows, you can just click on the download button here and you'll be able to get your report. For now though, let's stick with the 100 rows. So those are the basic criteria, and if I wanted to, I could run the report now and I would get a bestseller report with the criteria I've selected. But you also have the option to use a lot of advanced criteria and filters to further narrow down the data that you're looking at. So here we have a couple of toggles. You can filter by Canadian titles, so that's titles with Canadian authors or contributors. Titles with illustrations, which can be particularly useful if you're a retailer or a publisher who focuses on children's lit. And titles for which we have bibliographic data. Scrolling further down, we get into some more advanced criteria. If you already have a list of ISBNs that you're interested in seeing the data for, you can copy and paste them in here from an Excel spreadsheet or enter them manually. Again, because of the limits on the system, this allows you to enter up to 50,000 ISBN. Next up, we have the units sold, list price, and pub date filters. So how this works is, let's say that I was only interested in seeing titles in my bestseller report that had sold more than 50 copies. I can enter that in here and that will limit the data that I'm going to see. List price and pub date work similarly. I also have the option to look for a specific series, a title, a subtitle, and an author or a contributor. You can enter the search that you're interested in these text boxes, and that will limit the results even further. The subject and format filters work a little bit differently. Rather than just allowing you to enter whatever text you want, you can click on the Add Edit Subjects button here, and then you can select which subjects you'd like to see from a drop-down bisect tree, or by searching up here in this bar. Format works similarly, allowing you to look at different types of hardcovers, paperbacks, and other media. And we actually have a fairly robust list of different publications that you might be interested in. And finally, we have the option to filter by publisher, imprint, or distributor. So this again works a little bit differently. So let's say I only wanted to see titles by House of Anansi. And it will appear in this drop-down list from which I can select. So these are the criteria that I think I'd like to run my report on. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button and we'll take you to the results page. Here we are at the bestseller report that we just generated. So one of the first things you'll see at the top is a summary of those basic criteria that you selected from. So we can see our reporting period, the group, the market, units sold, and the publisher that we're looking at. If you wanted to, you could click on View Adjust Criteria, and this would take you back to the criteria selection page, and you could switch some of this up. Down here, you can see the column headers for our columns. Now, the rest of the table is being hidden because it contains confidential data, but if you're interested, you can request SalesData access at the link below. You can view the overall rank of the titles, the title name, contributors. There's a flag for whether or not they're Canadian, an ISBN, publisher, secondary format, pub date, some details on the units sold and the price, and then finally the bisect subject name. If you want to, you have the option to resort the data by clicking on any of these headers. If there are any columns that you aren't interested in seeing, you can go over here to the Customize Columns button, and this will allow you to remove those and then they won't show up in your table. If there's something that you don't think you're ever really going to be interested in seeing when you run bestseller reports, You can click here to use the columns you've selected for your defaults. As with the other reports in SalesData, you have the option to download or email the report. You can download it as an Excel or CSV file, or to save and distribute it. Now this is a really cool feature because let's say every week you want to be generating a new list of the best sellers for the previous week. You could save the report here, and then every week you'll get an email with an update with updated data. You can also distribute it to other SalesData users using this button. So if you think your colleague might be interested, you can share the report and they'll also have access to it. Any reports you save will appear over here in the My Reports tab. So that's everything on the bestseller report. It's a really great way to see what is or what has been popular in the retail market. If you have any questions, we have some more help documentation on SalesData available at this link, or you're welcome to contact us via the web form or send us an email at salesdata@booknetcanada.ca.